Watch these next 15 minutes if you want to scale your marketing agency past 7 figures in 2026. I'm going to tell you exactly why most marketing agencies can't scale past 5 to 6 figures or even from 7 to 8, and the one thing to fix it, and it's not lead generation. Now, quickly, what we're going to go over is that most marketing agencies think that the things that matter are their CPM, their click-through rate, their cost per lead, and the amount of leads that they generate for their client. And they think that the problem is that they don't generate enough leads for their clients, the lead quality is bad, which again is part of this, and that it stems from the ad platform. And what we're gonna go over is how the visibility and the automation of an entire loop actually makes it so that all 3 of these are not a problem, and you could actually scale your clients, keep them longer, have them pay you more, and get to that 7 to 8 figures. Now, if for any of your clients, after a lead or an appointment is generated, you cannot track, finish this video, because this video is gonna make you a ton of money and it's gonna make your life so much easier. It took me 7 years to figure this out. Now, you might be asking, who am I? My name is Jackson Doyle. I've run Greenwatt, which is an 8-figure marketing agency for the last 7 years. And I run a software company called Attribute that literally tries to fix this problem because I know how important it is. Now, if your marketing agency runs anything like mine, this is where you basically get to. So you could see CPM, you could see CTR, you could see CPL, and sometimes, depending on your marketing agency, you even see appointment, booking, percentage, right? Or cost per appointment. Typical agency is you don't see contacted percentage. So after the latest sent percentage, right? You're not seeing any of these. Contacted percentage, booking percentage, demo percentage, or price. You could say price for these. Sales or revenue, right? Typically, you can automate that, and you cannot only not see that for one client, you can't see that for all of your clients together. And now the benefit of running a marketing agency is that you work with similar clients, so you could see what's working for each of them and then use that as proof to get more clients as well as to get better results for all of your clients together. Now, if you can't see this information, you can't complete what's called a feedback loop. Now, I'm going to show you why a feedback loop is so important, especially as a marketing agency. And how at the end of the day, you need to reframe the way that you think about running your agency in the fact that you do not generate leads, you generate revenue and profit for your clients. Once you stop thinking about, hey, how many leads did I generate, and so much of the top of funnel stuff, and you work back from revenue to sales, to demos, to bookings, to contacted, to these numbers, that's where you're going to start getting your clients the results that they actually wanted and they signed up for, and your agency will run so much smoother and so much easier. Now, you might be asking, who are you? So I've been in this business for 7 years. I run a performance marketing company called Greenwatt that's mostly in home service, insurance, and mortgage. And we've been able to scale to 8 figures. Now, we've spent a ton of money among a lot of clients and among a lot of different ad platforms. And we've optimized towards cost per impression, click-through rate, cost per lead. And at the time, our campaigns looked great on paper and we would show our clients, and then it didn't really matter because we weren't actually making them revenue. And for the things that we were making them revenue on, we didn't know which campaigns, which funnels, which ads were actually driving the revenue and how to scale that, not only for that client, but for every client like that. And that created a huge discrepancy because we thought that we were doing a great job, and then our clients thought that we were doing terrible, and our churn was basically every 3 to 6 months, we were losing a massive amount of our clients, so we could never scale. And the reason that I dove into this and we actually built a whole platform on this is because we spent so much real money trying to fix this issue, but we always had uncertainty and we couldn't actually get past this in our business until we built an actual solution for it. Now, really quick, I'm gonna go into something a little metaphysical, and it's basically how do we learn or how do we improve performance on anything, right? And then I'm gonna go into how this is actually applicable directly for your agency. So first, how do we learn anything, right? We have some type of action, and then that action gives us some type of result, and then we either like the result, right? We're iffy about the result, or we do not like the result. And then from there, we adjust based on the result, and then we take more action, and then we learn, right? And this is called a feedback loop. Now, give me a second, I'm gonna show you how that's important for you. So for your marketing agency, right, is if you have CPM, and this is gonna be a little bit bigger, but same concept, CTR, and then you have, let's say, cost per lead, And then you are trying to get here, but you can't see this, right? And then this is appointments, for your clients, demos, sales. If you can't see here, right, this is where this stops. How do you complete the feedback loop? How do you know which campaigns are actually driving the revenue for your clients that you can continue to scale? You can't, right? So this feedback loop is not a feedback loop. Really, it's just these two. These two feed back to each other. So in this situation, you're just feeding back these two data points, and they're not actually what your client cares about, which is sales. In this is a full feedback loop, and this continues to improve performance. Now, all of those metrics that I laid out are important at some point, but they go backwards, right? Now, most agencies, they go this way, right? They care that way. And really, you should care this way. So this is CTR, whatever, CPM, CPL, percentage booked, demo percentage, and then here is CPA, cost of marketing, close percentage, right? And this is most agencies. And this is most companies or clients. This is what they care about. This is what you show them and you say that you care about, right? Do you see the discrepancy? When you start caring about this, and if this is good, right, you could always optimize these. And if this is bad, you could always go back and look which one of these is out of line. But you start here, you start bottom, and you build to the top. And then you're also aligned with your client when you do that. Now, when you do this, right, and you start optimizing that feedback loop, 3 big things happen. And you have the visibility and you can automate it, right? The first thing that happens is now you're able to feed the ad platform AI correctly. Feed AI on ad platform. You are able to internally optimize with client. 3, you're able to combine and get a competitive advantage over clients and competition. Okay. Right? You're able to do those 3 things. Now I'm going to break those down really quick. So feed AI. So we got 1, feed AI. 2, client alignment. And 3, competitive advantage. Okay. So feed AI, right? If you look up online, the biggest thing that you could do for the ad platforms where everything is moving and the AI in the ad platforms is moving is the conversion API, right? And if you, first of all, can't see it, but second of all, can't automate it, you cannot finish the loop, right? We already talked about that. CPM, you could go to CPL, maybe to if you help book appointment, but you cannot go to demo and you can't go to sales. And those are the 2 most important, right? So when you're optimizing for the AIs, which these keep getting better and better, is that you want to tell the AI on the ad platform, right? This ad led to a demo. And then this ad led to, and the demo is worth, let's say, $400 to my client. And this ad led to a sale, which was worth $10,000. And now with Andromeda and everything else, this allows the ad platform to do what the ad platform is best at, and it allows it to optimize, right? And then you don't have to do anything, because especially if you can automate this back, you can get aggregated data, you can normalize it from your client, you can send it back to, if you do PPL, your own ad account, show which clients are getting sales, or if you run a retainer base, you could still get that data back, send it to the ad platform, and now the ad platform gets better. It gets better and cheaper at finding you the right customers that have similar characteristics to what got these appointments and sales, right? And you could also feed it back the negative, right? So DQ, right? You don't want DQs. You could feed that back to the ad platform. So ad equals DQ. We do not want this. And we could send that back to the ad platform. And that's how we're basically doing no work. You can get your clients better results, and then your clients stay longer and they pay you more. Now, the second one, client alignment. So like I touched on before, is your clients care about revenue. They care about, we always say in our sales pitch, you give me $1, I give you $5 back, right? They care about ROAS and return on investment, CPA, cost per acquisition, and cost of marketing. So as you are aligned with your client, you have visibility, you are able to basically, whether you do pay per lead, whether you do rev share, whether you do retainer, is you are able to actually act as a marketing person. So right now, there is things that you're responsible for, but you have a partnership with your client, right? And there's things that they're responsible for. So if you were able to see, right, add, and then you were able to see lead, and then you were able to see nurture, right? And nurture is calling, texting, booking, right? And then you were able to see bookings, and then demos, sales, and revenue. Now, if you were able to see this, you would actually probably be able to see more than most marketing execs in their own company. Now, the reason that this is important is it creates that partnership and it creates that accountability, and it allows you as a marketing agency to actually help your client get better results for themselves. So some of these you're responsible for, some they're responsible for. At the end of the day, your goals are aligned to your clients. You're both optimizing around the same thing, right? So when you know and you work backwards with your client, what you might find is that, yes, you could have an ad that's causing there to not be enough bookings, even though there's a lot of leads, because when they're actually talking to them, they're not interested in their actual service. But what you also might find by having this transparency, right? Because by having this, it's like if you actually worked as one company, your client and yourself worked as one company. I'm gonna show you how in part 3, that gives you this competitive advantage. So we already talked about how you can feed it all to the AI platforms, but now you could look back, right? And you could see two things. You could see, hey, for ad 1, right? My booking rate, my cost per lead, let's take 2 scenarios. We'll just keep it to booking. So we're gonna add 1, this is my 1, and add 2. Without this, right, we're going to go to CPL. So we go to CPL, and let's say that this one costs $25 and that this one costs $100. Now, let's say that the nurturing is the same. The speed to lead, the cadence, the reps, everything is the same. So nurturing is equal. Now booking, we actually see that this books at 50%. I'm just gonna make some crazy numbers. 50%. And that this books at 2%. Now, if this books at 2% and this books at 50%, so the cost per appointment for this top one would be $1,250. And the cost per appointment for the second ad for your client is $200, right? So top of funnel, if you don't see that, and this applies to every single thing. This applies to demos, this applies to sales, this applies to revenue, everything, right? Simple example. You have an ad. I'm gonna go into how you can hold your client accountable, and then you can start to see trends, especially the competitive advantage. Is that we go from here, and if you were just looking at this and all you could see is cost per lead, you would kill this campaign. This campaign is 4 times more expensive than this campaign. But by seeing downstream metrics, you could see that this is so much more expensive for your client and getting such worse results than this is, right? And that's why being aligned and looking bottom up, that's why that helps you keep and retain clients, because you're talking the same numbers and you're optimizing on the same things. Now, quick before I get into this, is that nurture, right? Imagine these were different. Or imagine that for one client, you saw that their speed to lead was 3 times less than another client, and their cadence, they called more than the other client, and the results were better, right? You can now bring that information to that client and you can help them get better results. Because a lot of clients don't know, and some clients are lazy. But by doing that and having metrics and having numbers and being able to come in as the authority, that's how you fix it. All right, last one quick. Okay, competitive advantage. Remember when I showed you lead, appointment, whatever, ad, all that stuff all the way down? That is where, if you don't have that insight, you're immediately at a disadvantage. So if we have it, we're now equal, right, to someone who's internal to the marketing. Now, where you have a huge competitive advantage, right, is that, let's say you work primarily, or you could work with a couple different verticals, but let's say that you work with roofing clients, and let's say you work with windows clients. Okay. So by actually seeing and having all the way down, remember we showed all the way down for, let's say you got client A, client B, and client C. Okay. By being able to have something that takes in all of their data, right? Let's say that you run, let's say you're a PPL agency and you run 10 different ads. So you got 10 ads, you have 10 ads, right? You could see the conversion rate for each of these clients all together. So you don't have to burn as much of the client's budget on these 10 ads because you could split it up among all three. You could see trends among all three. You could see anomalies between all three. So we still got those three and we got client A, but okay, so you have all these three clients and now you can see that, let's just say for sake of example, you're running the same ads. Remember we said the same ads, same funnels, they're going all three, right? Is that you're able to see for whatever reason, what ads are producing results for each individual client, but then them as a whole, right? So you come in here and then you see, let's just say that's ad one. So it's ad one, we're just taking one of the ads, right? We could do two things here. We could hold the clients accountable and try to teach them and try to get them better results. And we could scale for every new client that comes on and have actual data to sell new clients. So, you know, CPL, let's say it's like $50 average. All these are 50 because it's coming from the same campaign. And then one has a 20% booking rate, and then one has this booking rate, and one has a 10% booking rate, and one has a 21% booking rate. And then they have the same demo rate. Demo is 20, 20, demo. Okay, so here in this scenario, by having all of this, you have one of the competitive advantages is that you are able to actually have leverage over your clients and say, hey, this person, you know, when I talk to them, they call within 2 minutes and they call 5 times in the first day. And this person, right, they call within 2 minutes and they call 5 times a day. And you told me that you call within 30 minutes and you call 2 times a day. Now, as a marketing agency, as a partner, you have leverage and you have data to tell your client, hey, listen, this gets better results, so try this, right? Which then their results get better. They trust you as an authority. You have data to back it up. Your results get better. Now, the other part of this, there's twofold, is that you can now take all of the data, especially if you run your own ad account. If you run your own ad account and you distribute the leads to all of these, when these get to sales, right, you could feed all of this data into your ad account. Now, imagine you had 50 clients in roofing. They were all spending $5,000. 2 more examples, then we're done. So let's say that you have 50 clients. They're all roofers and they all spend $5,000 times 50. This is you. And then let's say that we'll have 3 scenarios. We have competitor. He has 50 clients and they spend $5,000. And we have the roofer themselves. They spend $50,000 a month on any of the ad platforms. Doesn't matter. Right? So here's you and competitor. Let's start with you guys. You have the feedback loop, right? We're here, we're here, we're here, and we're here. You remember what the feedback loop was. And your competitor, he doesn't have the feedback loop, right? He doesn't have the feedback loop. And because he doesn't have the feedback loop, he not only doesn't have it for one client, he doesn't have it for all 50. Now, the thing that you need to understand, and obviously this is gonna solve it for here, is that if you have the feedback loop for one client and you're aggregating all that data and you have one schema to normalize it, you now have the feedback loop for all 50, 50x. So when you do that and you're feeding 50 times that data, you are basically feeding $250,000 worth of conversion data to one ad platform. Now, if you're a competitor, let's even say that they get 1. Let's say that they do 1. That's full. We'll give them 1. We'll say 1x. But they don't aggregate and normalize it among all of their clients. You know, this ad, yes, is like generating leads that I'm selling to this client and this client and this client and this client, right? So they have 1x. Now they are going to have 1x, right? Which is $5,000. That's as much as they're getting the ad platform conversion API. 1x times 5,000. Now, same scenario, right? We have the roofer who individually, right? He's only paying you $5,000. Individually, he spends more in his own ad account than you do, right? He spends $50,000 a month, 1x, right? So in this, you are feeding $250,000 worth of conversion data. You also can visualize and see for yourself which campaigns, platforms, ads, landing pages are converting over this 250,000. This guy can't see anything, and let's say he's feeding back to the AI, right? $5,000 worth. That is 1/50th of what you are. Are your ads going to perform better than his? And now you have a roofer, right? And he spends 50. So that's 1/5 of you, right? So the more clients you get, the better results you get for all of your other clients, which then gets you more clients, which then allows you to add to the amount of data that you're getting. And with AI and with where we're going, the most important thing, right, for AI is data. Data centers, you guys hear about this, is getting more tangible, easy to read, easy to understand, same format data. Okay, so that was a lot. So let's just recap together what we went through. Now, if you're gonna take one thing away from this video, it should be that you cannot optimize to have a competitive advantage and keep clients and scale if you cannot see, measure, or automate back the entire feedback loop. And most agencies, which I'm sure is yours as well, only see half the picture or only can automate back half the picture. And because of that, they do not feed the AI what it correctly wants. They do not have alignment with their clients, and they measure the wrong way. They measure CPM, CTR, whatever for their clients when their clients care about revenue, sales, demos. And because of that, they're missing out on a huge competitive advantage that if they just had a way to track this data, to visualize it, and to automate it, you would immediately have an advantage because you have 20 clients in the same vertical, but you're not leveraging that. You're literally just letting it go to waste. You don't have a competitive advantage over your competitors, and you definitely probably don't have a competitive advantage over your clients, and that's why you lose them so frequently, because they could do it better internally than you could do it. Now, to summarize again, this really comes down to one loop, right? So it is ad, and then it is a lead, and then for everyone, this is where it stops. There's a line right here, right? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Ad platform, you, your team, everyone else, they don't know. And then it goes to just typical funnel, appointment, demo, sales, revenue, and back to ad. And that is a feedback loop. Now, if you want immediate feedback on your system and where you're missing parts of this, feel free to click the link below in the description, book a direct call with me, and we'll go over how to actually implement or fix your own feedback loop in your agency. And if you want more content like this, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and or go and follow me on Instagram at TheRealJacksonDoyle.